thing that came in the grocery store. Oh my goodness, someone charged me too much. Whatever. There's so many things that come and go, and it's just waves rising and falling, rising and falling. Find that stillness within, because truly Master is always with us. But we have to be his disciples. And discipleship means being willing to listen, okay? It also means that when we have some extremely brilliant idea, that we are willing to learn more. We are willing to keep asking the question, is this what you want? Am I in tune with your will? I was so impressed with Swamiji, Swami Kriyananji, in so many ways, of course. But in this way in particular, it was very touching to me. He would have some inspiration, and I think, as you all know, his life was endless creativity, endless new ideas, new ways of reaching people, of touching people's hearts, helping to open them to the divine. But he never assumed that he was absolutely right or that he understood Master perfectly. He never assumed it. He would ask us, what can we add to his enlightenment? And nevertheless, he would ask, what do you all think? Does this seem right? Does it seem good? Do you like this? Does it feel in tune? And of course he knew almost all the time, but sometimes in very major situations he would ask, and he would ask very sincerely. And he would listen. And even if he didn't agree with the perspective being given to him, nevertheless he heard it. He took the time and the trouble to hear it and to listen. And in our lives, it's so easy to think, well, I've come this far, some of us have been on the path for some years. Surely I must know, Master speaks to me, Master tells me something. But be willing to listen to life, because life will explain to us sometimes in dramatic ways, sometimes in very subtle ways, very delicate ways. Which is the best way to follow? Which is the best way to go? There's a beautiful chapter in Autobiography of a Yogi, and I think you probably all know this chapter, but I'll just refer to it a little bit. It's the chapter called Two Penniless Boys in Vrindavan. And Master is sent off by his brother with a challenge to go to Vrindavan with no rupees, not one paisa, nothing. And he has to go there, he has to tour the city, he has to not miss his meals, he has to return home by midnight, not having a single rupee, and he's not allowed to tell anyone of his situation or the challenge that he's involved in. And this was the challenge that he accepted, because he said, I do not confine God to heaven. God works here in this earth, on this ground where I walk. And I will prove it to you. He's speaking to his elder brother Ananda. And so he did. And he's with a young friend named Jitendra, who sort of provides the comic relief, the dramatic diversity of opinion in the scene, which is very sweet, actually. It's very dear to watch the two of them interacting, pinching each other in a sensitive spot when they don't think it's not going very well. But Master ends up meeting people who help them without him ever saying a word. And we need in our lives to realize, and Master says this in that chapter, he says, I acknowledge, I'm paraphrasing, but it's close, I acknowledge my complete dependence on God. I am completely dependent on him. And we in our lives may think, well, I'm dependent on God, yes, but my bank balance is very important. There are certain things that are very sacred, and my bank balance is one of them. And yet, Master was willing to go through that test for our benefit. He didn't do it for his benefit. He might have done it a little bit for his brother's benefit, okay. But the story speaks to us. In fact, I remember when we landed up in India in 2003 and coming into 2004, I used to think to myself, well, Master was 2 penniless boys in Vrindavan. We are 20 penniless devotees in Gurgaon. How are we going to make this work? How can we ever pay for all this? We just had no idea how to make that work. We wanted to take classes, and people would say, no, you can't charge money for classes. And I was like, well, fine. What are we supposed to do then? We have to pay for the hall, pay for the advertising, pay for the transportation, pay for everything. But of course Master gave us, and this is one of the gifts of India for the world. If there is a single spiritual seed in your heart, and you toss it on the soil of India, it will sprout. Because it is very, very fertile. And each of us has some special gift. You know, coming from the West, we would sometimes be amazed and even perhaps a little bit appalled at the idea that there were, at the time, I think it was 30 crore deities in India, and maybe now it's 1,000 crores for all I know. I don't know. It's a lot, whatever it is. But what that said to me later as I came here and I spent time here was, God comes to you, to each of us in a unique way. His presence is special for every one of us. And that's the divine that comes to us. And yes, he comes through Master, and yes, he comes through Swamiji, and yes, he comes through Acharyas and others. And you, he comes through you also. But never think that he's far away. Never think that he can't help you. And surely his grace doesn't reach into this awful situation in my life, or whatever it may be. Oh, my health is bad. Oh my goodness. Well, how could he possibly help me? Of course he'll help you. Just open your heart to it and accept his timing, accept his way of speaking to you and working through you. Because you have no idea how much you can bless others. No idea. Touch other people's hearts with your heart in a way that they can understand, in a way that they can relate to. It's so easy to say, and in religion we see this all the time. Someone has the experience of God. Wonderful. It's a very true experience. It's a very deep experience. So naturally he thinks, okay, well, everyone else has to do exactly what I did and have exactly the same experience of God. And then what do you find? Oh, no, I don't. That's not the way I do it. I experience God in this other way. And then, boom, 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 we have all this conflict in the world. Let other people find their way, but help them to find their way. Because you can give to them in so many ways. And it, again, as I said earlier, it starts with a smile. We can always smile. We can always try to feel peace and express peace from our hearts. And it's just, I cannot tell you how much joy it is to be here, to be back again. It's a little hard to talk about, but anyway. But 4 years, 4 minutes, 4 lifetimes, who cares? We're here and very grateful to be with you. Stay.